What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy, Storyteller Jet, and today we have another episode, actually the second of the day, episode of the Dat'z So Fire Talkshow, and we have in the house Max, the Candyman Quinones.
What's going on, brother, man? Hey, what's going on Facebook and Instagram Live? Good to be here.
Awesome, man. Did I do a good job doing the MMA announcer fighter thing? Max the Candyman Quinones.
Oh, I like that. That second time was better. It's just that drawn out effect of it.
Oh, yeah.
That's the main catch.
Let's go. Super excited to have you on the show, man. I know we talked about that a long time ago. Like when I first started doing the show, we chatted about you coming on, and today you're here. Let's do it. Let's start the show. Let's talk a little bit about who Max is, and then we'll delve into the conversation today. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Who is Max, the Candyman Quinones?
Usually my coach asks me this question, but Max the Candyman, he's a father, a husband, a community impacted leader, a MMA professional fighter, a meal prep and owning service and company, a bad slinging, heavy, sweet-handed mofo that's going to be a world champion someday. So the biggest thing is dealing with adversity and be able to overcome those things. And that's hopefully what I'm able to inspire the crowd with today.
Awesome, man. Let's start by talking about the awesome name, the Candyman. How did you come up with that name?
So luckily, it's like one of those things that was given to me. Over in high school, I used to be known as the Candyman. And the reason being is because I used to have my wrestling duffel bag and then my candy duffel bag. I used to have a box of candy that you would get 30 pieces of for only $5 and be able to resell them. I would sell out 2 boxes every day, 4 days out of the week. Whatever's left over was sold on Fridays. And then the nickname just stuck from freshman year up until my senior year. And then now it kind of cemented back into my roots and now tied into the MMA and things of that nature. So it all correlates together. Instead of selling candy, now I sell meals, and I'm also giving sweet hands with my fists.
Sweet hands with your fist. I love that. So you were in high school and basically like selling candy out of that duffel bag. Why were you doing that? Was it like the entrepreneur journey that was kicking off, or was it some other things that you wanted to do to basically make money at that time?
So growing up, my mom was a single mom, raising 3 boys, one of them being physically disabled as well. So all she was doing is just working day in and day out. And whenever we would ask for, let's say, $20 or $15 to go to the movies, it would add up in time. And me being an 8th grader going into freshman year, going out to the movies with friends and things like that, this is your last $20. You better not ask me for another dime again. And I was like, all right, maybe we'll miss out on the movies and go to Walmart and then take that initial box of 20 that was $10, stack it a little bit more, and then from there had a connection to where it was a BJ's wholesale club. And then it was just that entrepreneurial mindset of how to maximize profits to where I don't have to ask my mom for a single thing, and even to be able to help out at times if I was fortunate enough to do. But just not asking for money was big enough help alone. She made it happen for us.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, having that entrepreneur spirit at that time, and also doing something like that to support your family as well, kind of takes me back from like when I was a kid too. Back in Haiti, where I was born and raised, I used to sell sparklers. Like, in December, I would buy it in bulk and basically be able to sell it with all the other kids. The other thing I used to do too is sell marbles, like to the kids in the neighborhood. So I guess for me, that was kind of where I guess the entrepreneur journey started for me as well. So while you were selling candy in the school, did you ever get into trouble? With your school and doing all of that?
So in Pasco County, where I went to high school, it's an all-fit county. So pretty much anything in the vending machines, it was a non-compete. So if they're selling brownies, it was like the Splenda off version, like different kind of sweeteners. And then we weren't able to sell Skittles, chocolate bars, and things like that. So I found that need within, but come my junior year, ended up being the guy named Larry Davis. I hope you're doing well, Mr. Davis. He ended up suspending me for a day before selling candy. So my wrestling coach was like, well, you're still wrestling this weekend, come on. And then just stop selling candy going forward. So we ended up doing that and ended up being like the biggest blessing, because that, even though I stopped my junior year, roughly around the first quarter of junior year, it still cemented my name into what it is today, being in Max the Candyman Quinones. So it's just, it's a true honor when you have those like little things, but you reflect on it. And it's like he was just doing his job. He wasn't trying to shut a kid's business down and stuff like that unless he had to by work. So nothing but respect to Mr. Davis, but now it ended up being a pivotal story in my life. So I appreciate you so much.
That's awesome. And I love how like you're taking like, some of the things from your past, reposition that and kind of utilizing that for your story now, the things that you're promoting, the things that you're doing, and the impact that you're having as well. So let's talk a little bit about your wrestling career. Why did you decide to do wrestling in high school?
Well, being an MMA fighter has been my dreams ever since like 5th grade. We just didn't have the money to get into martial arts school until high school year comes around, and then they allow you to do wrestling for a small fee. Then you're backed by the county. So what happened is I was just getting in trouble every week, every other day type of deal. My mom would get a call, your son got in a fight again. What are we going to do about this? How are we going to course correct it and make it better? And growing up, it was just a lot of tension and anger. Not to put any blame on any specific person, but there were certain things that make you just shell up and want to fight back, or just like take out that that internal anger that you had, and instead of positioning it into the right way. So my stepfather actually got me into wrestling, and his main sport was football, but he knew wrestling would keep me in check and in shape. So he was like, hey man, let's get you out there. Let's control this and try to set you on the right path, because it's not that you're a bad kid, it's that you're just not channeling that energy in the right way. So he put me into wrestling. In my first conditioning practice, my mom ended up calling the cops on the coaches because it was a conditioning practice. The school was locked down, but we ended up going around the school to do our conditioning. So we ran to the CVS, it was like a mile and a half down, and then come back. So 3-mile run. She couldn't find me anywhere. Oh, wow. And then so like any concerned parent would, she called the cops and was like, I don't know where my son is. I see a car here, but I don't see any kids. And then there was 2 sheriff cars that just ended up pulling up. And that was a big memorable impact in my first day freshman year. So I was like, oh man, the coaches are gonna like me now. So ever since then, there's just been a pivotal moment. Ended up not getting a scholarship I wanted to for college, but during national tournaments, I would get All-Americanships, medals, and things of that nature, brackets and whatnot. But I didn't want to bury myself into debt for going into school for a business degree. So I was like, you know what? Let me try this MMA thing. And instead of going to the college, I went to the school of hard knocks of getting beat down, learning, pivoting, and then utilizing my wrestling to get me to where I am today.
Yeah. One thing I would like to touch on a little bit, and I think that could be very important for the younger generation that are coming up right now, that they're dealing with that like anger inside of them. What advice would you give to somebody going to high school right now that have some pent up anger that they need to release, or like that could potentially even put them in the wrong way? So what advice would you give them, the people that are dealing with anger, like the young kids that are dealing with anger, and how they can best channel that?
If you have the resources, I mean, definitely get involved with some type of activity, whether it's sports, not fighting per se, but something that can channel that physicalness to come out of you. That way it leaves you being tired. Because I remember coming home from wrestling practices, and while my friends were out hanging out, partying, doing this, that, and the third, I was just too tired to do anything. I was like, I'm just going to stay home. And I was able to find different avenues to release that emotion, to drain myself physically while getting stronger mentally and physically too. So the biggest thing, try to get into a club, whether it's sports, that kind of avenue, or just talk to someone that's able to relate to them on a personal level, to say, hey, look, I've been down the same path before. This is how I was able to pivot off and make it into a positive situation. And there's some kids that you got to really hammer it through. And sometimes you do need a good little punching every once in a while to really wake someone up and say, hey, look, snap out of it. And like when you give someone a good smack, my coach has done that in the corner plenty of times, like, wake up, something's got to change. And I think when you have those type of scenarios, those life-changing moments, it can either put you down the path of, all right, I need to make a difference about this, or I'm just going to keep on following that snowball effect, and then it's just going to be too big for me to handle, and then you're going to get run over by it. So definitely find someone to communicate that with, or find a club, a coach, a mentor to help you at least take those initial steps. Because once you start with that little bit on the plate, then you can add a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Then you're going to find yourself too busy to be doing anything because your plate's so full and blessed.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question to that. So for the kids that are consistently getting into fights, getting into trouble in school, what advice would you give to them?
Nah, man, this is one that's going to hit home. If you have siblings, technology nowadays is so accessible to where YouTube is a pivotal tool. Find people that have common interests to then meet up with. I'm not saying that you guys beat up each other outside of school, but find a gym, find a program that can get you guys together and is you and your buddy. If you have someone that is down to go with you to these kind of venues and to try things out, but say you don't even have the transportation, just try to talk to your parents as far as like my gym alone, Deaf War, we're willing to have kids come in that are with like single parents, single moms and things like that. We're really big on that to where, hey, we invite you to come on in. That way you're able to learn, grow, and channel that energy in the right direction. And that's just in the Tampa Bay area. But for people that are worldwide, try to find those kind of community programs to outreach and a mentor or someone that you know and say, hey, look, they have something that I would like to emulate in one way or another, and make sure they're just instilling the good habits into you. If not, then it could be that snowball effect again. So definitely try to pair yourself up with the right people, line yourself up with the right community, because it could be just that one person to make a difference, that one word, that one sentence that could really hit home for you. So I hope that you listen to God's signs when going about that, because it's been shown in every day. You just got to take heed and listen to it.
Yeah, absolutely. One person can make a whole world of a difference in somebody else's life. And doing things, getting yourself into trouble right now has the opportunity to basically ruin the rest of your life. So finding the right person, ask for advice or trying to find that right community, I think is definitely key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful that I had the family upbringing that I do have. I have a supportive mother, but of course she's busy. My father-in-law, my stepfather, I should say, he didn't live with us until after we graduated, but he was in our life ever since I was 5 years old. So he's just one of those people that I looked up to, and he was like, hey man, like, you're not a bad kid. And it's just that one person or two people that say, hey, look, you're not a bad person. You're not a bad child. You're not that angry kid. It just needs to be channeled in the right direction. So definitely find those outlets to go ahead and do that.
Awesome. So now you've done wrestling throughout your high school career. When did you transition from wrestling into the MMA?
After my first semester of college, I got straight A's from it, but I was just like, this isn't for me. This is not for me. And if I'm going to go into business for myself anyways, the one thing I did have a skill set for was being durable, having conditioning, being mentally tough, and willing to withstand certain things that the average person isn't typically wanting to do. Like it takes a special person to go inside the cage or prepare 8 to 10 weeks to know that someone else that you're going against is doing the same exact thing, if not harder than you. And then you guys have to meet on a set day, set time, set venue to duke it out and the best man win. Me, that gets me exciting. That gets me excited personally. But I'm just so grateful for the path that everything has been lined up to this, because with fighting, it's going to allow me to explore the freedom that I want to. Gladiators, they used to fight for their freedom inside the Golem, inside the Coliseum, whether they're prisoners of war, just held without being released, but they fought for their freedom. And I truly believe that me having this skill set, I'm able to line my family up for greater success and to venture off into different businesses from that, because fighting is only this much of my life. So I got to be able to have other things involved with it too.
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier that dream to become an MMA fighter started as a young kid. What inspired that dream in you? Like, where did that come from as a young kid?
So it was George St. Pierre versus the Matt Hughes fight. And George St. Pierre, he's one of the greatest of all time. One of my favorite fighters for sure. And the way he was able to pick his opponent apart, and I didn't realize what it was at that time, but he just did things to this other human being. And I was like, wow, Like watching WWE is one thing, but to actually be able to do a sport to where you're combatively winning and it's mano y mano, it's not team sport. So if you're not the favorite on the team, you don't get to play. But if you put in the work, put in the hard work, the discipline, the time it takes to become a true martial artist, it'll show into that cage. And that's something that really hit home for me, that no matter who's in front of you, as long as you put in that work and you believe in yourself. And that's what I took from that 5th grade like fight. I was like, wow, not only do I want to be able to do this, but I want to be able to do it at the highest level possible.
Wow. It's crazy and awesome to like see people that have that dream from a very young age and working on it and working on it and working on it to make it happen one day, which is incredible to kind of seeing that growth and that transition as well. So you had something major happen. In 2019, you had a major accident. Can you tell me what happened and what did you have to overcome?
So it was 2019 along Hillsborough Avenue Road for my Tampa people out there. So it was on Hillsborough Avenue and Sheldon Road. It was nighttime. There was a gentleman coming out of a 55 plus community with no headlights on, and I was the passenger. So the person I was with, I saw the car pulling up just a little bit, but I was like, oh, I think they're gonna gun him. So I was just watching the entire time, and literally in slow motion, I'm seeing the car coming out. I'm like, oh, he's really going for it. So I started to unbuckle my seatbelt, trying to launch myself to the back of the driver's seat, but my leg got caught in the dash. T-bone. And had major reconstructive surgery on my knee from that, actually. So tore everything down, ACL, MCL, meniscus, fractured my tibia, 2 torn ligaments in my ankle. And definitely a long journey to bounce back from that for sure. So, and a long, lonely road too. So that's something that I know can really help the viewers as well too.
Yeah. So like you are working on your MMA fights, and to have something like that happen, how did you feel when the doctor told you that you probably would not even be able to walk, and then you had such a big vision to become like an MMA fighter?
So as soon as it happened, the sound you can't get out of your ear was like pop, pop. And instantly, the first thing I screamed, like, my career is over. So I'm riding down to the ambulance and things like that, and just feeling the pain, feeling the agony. But in the back of my mind, it was just, I didn't think I was going to be able to fight again. Then the doctor, Dr. McLaren, great surgeon, works with former NFL players, national teams, and things like that here down in Florida. And before we went into surgery, he said, hey, look, you won't be able to walk again. You may not be able to walk the same, let alone fight. That's for sure. So I was like, no, we can't have that. The way I went out as an amateur, I didn't want to be known as what they call a local legend. So I just stuck my nose down to the dirt and just worked super diligently on my physical therapy. And with that goal of like, we're not going out until the wheels fall off. Yeah. Woo. Sorry.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man. Yeah. Let it out, bro. Let it out.
So, and throughout that process, people were counting me out and things like that. So it was really cool to see how my coach, Daniel, and if not every week, every other week, he would reach out and say, hey man, how you holding up? Everything good? Are you focusing on your rehab? Everything as far as that. And couldn't walk for a whole 2 years. Couldn't walk, just rehabbing. And then as soon as I was able to walk, stepped right back on the mats. And woo. And of course, without the support of my wife, I mean, that extra belief along having other people that know that you're capable of great things, it's truly a blessing. So that definitely just gets you fired up, ready to do whatever life has in stores for you. So I'm just grateful for the people I've surrounded myself with, and I wouldn't look anywhere else. Sorry. Excuse me, guys.
It's all good, man. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. So what was the mindset like for you to have such a big vision, such a big mission, to have it to have to deal with like, such like huge setback?
Just being comfortable being alone, having to deal with my own like internal issues, you know what I mean? And bringing that to resurface, because when you can't really do anything as far as that. And my oldest brother, like I mentioned before, is physically disabled. So he was a really big proponent on like, if he can have his own recording studio, be as not self-made, but in a sense like entrepreneur and doing things on his own with his disability, because he has mobility to a certain degree. So he can't bend his elbow like this and he can't walk. So I was like, I could do this as well too. Like I can make this happen. It's just going to take time, but I can make it happen. So I was working with a solar company at the time, and they were really big on internal work. So during that time, we would meet up, Zoom calls, 20, 30 people, and really dial into our internal work, releasing any of those previous like injuries or traumas and things like that to really get you back on the winning path. And if it wasn't for that, along with just like having sit downs with my wife, because during that time, me and my wife were just getting together and things like that. So that was a whole new extra boost of energy of just happiness and like fulfillment and peace. And I just knew it could be taken away at any given moment. So at a blink of an eye, anything could happen. So with that in mind, I was just like, you know what, let's go until the wheels fall off, because the only person that can stop me is me. And as long as I keep pushing through, I'm going to the top. No ands, ifs, or buts. I'm going to the top.
I love it. I love it. So can you walk me through how those 2 years were, like when you were like going through physical therapy? What was the biggest thing that you had to do to kind of regain that mindset to, going to the top?
Really just showing up for myself, being my biggest cheerleader, because everyone can tell you they believe in you, that and things of that nature, but you have to show up and put in the work. So I just knew those daily deposits, because there was times where I was just a sitting punching bag. I couldn't move my feet. I had 2 left feet at that time because I had to relearn how to walk. So I had to literally absorb punches, learn how to block, learn the basics, and really start from the ground back up. But even Muhammad Ali couldn't do a push-up at one point. You know what I mean? So everyone starts from somewhere, and you just got to keep building up those daily deposits. And with that comes confidence, because you're seeing yourself grow. You're seeing yourself develop. And especially when you document it too. So I had a documentation of my process from when I first started up until where I am now. And soon there'll be a documentary of just like that, overcoming the adversity. But it's really those daily deposits and making sure that like you don't miss those certain workouts. You don't miss the things. Like even when you don't feel like going, you got to show up, because it's those mental barriers that you're overcoming day in, day out by doing those little things. And then your bandwidth just grows even more with that.
Awesome. So you went through that accident, and then you had a sales job at one point of time. What sparked that decision to quit that sales job and to go to MMA fight full time?
Oh, my beautiful wife, Linda, for sure. Well, the company got bought out, and then the commissions were cut into half. So I was working the same hours, usually bringing home a bigger paycheck, but then it was the same hours, and then it was cut in half. And then my wife was like, the time you're gone, 6 a.m. up until 10 at night, like you're missing the baby growing up, you're missing everything involved with that. I miss you, and you don't need to do it. Like you can make more money doing what you're doing, being a professional fighter. Like let's just do it. And my father-in-law, he was letting us live with him at that time. So our rent was really reasonable, you know what I mean? So, and my mom as well, everyone, it's just a village, everyone contributing, making sure that let's make this thing happen. Like we believe in you. And on my 27th birthday was my pro debut. So it was just a crazy feeling. And now like pretty much every year I fight around my birthday time, and my family is just so understanding, so flexible, as far as like we share the same dream. So picking the spouse is one of the most important things. Like having the right person on your team that just knows, hey, look, I got to do this. We can't go to this event. Okay. like so flexible, so understanding, and so loving with it because it's her dream as well too. Like it's not just my dream; it's the family's dream that turned into the village's dream, and then it's going to turn into the empire's dream, and then we're going to pass it on and start the evolution with everyone in the community.
I absolutely love it. And shout out to Linda and your daughter in the house. I wish we had like another camera from the back so we can turn it on them. So it's absolutely, you hit the nail right in the head. Like you need to choose the right partner. Like if you like, that is probably the main thing that could potentially derail somebody from achieving their own goals too, if they're not sharing that same vision or that same mission with their partner.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's awesome. Good job, guys. Shout out in the back over here. So 27 years old, you had your pro debut. Can you talk to me about that process of getting selected to kind of do that first fight?
So my last amateur fight was now he's viral on UFC and things like that. It was against Malcolm Willmaker, and it was my last amateur fight. I bumped up a weight class because it was my first fight. I didn't want to cut all the way back down to 125, and so literally that day of the fight, we weighed in 135. I weighed in 136 that following day.
Wow.
And he's a natural 135er, but my wife is 7 months pregnant at that time. We're in a whole different state. I think it was North Carolina we were at that time. And it didn't go my way. I lost by decision. But stepping in there with him, I was like, oh, snap. Like, and he even came up to me too, saying that I was the reason why I kept him going for like throughout the amateurs. Like he saw me fight during his debut. He was like, man, like it's achievable. You know what I mean? And that was someone now who's making it happen in UFC. And those words, like, even from that fight, was like, all right, like I know I'm on the right track. Like I can still keep up. Like we're not stopping here. So then it was that May time, and I've already been getting in shape because I didn't stop once the fight happened. Just kept going back to the gym, staying disciplined. And then there was an event coming up with some other teammates on July 14th, 2022. And everyone's getting ready for camps. And it was the same exact time. So you prep 8 weeks for a camp, typically 2 months. So the day I quit, camp pretty much started. And I was already in good shape already. So my coach was like, hey, I threw your name in the mix. Let's see what happens. They paired me up against someone that was 6-0 as an amateur, 0-1 going into their CFFC, that's the league I fight for, his debut. And I'm just coming in off a deficit, like I just lost, but going down to my natural weight class. So we went ahead and booked it, and then I won all 3 rounds decisively. And then from there, I wanted to make sure to stay active. So we weren't injured from the fight, but that's my biggest thing since we got to keep going till the wheels fall off. So you'll catch me fighting like 4 or 5 times a year if I'm able to, minimum. So as long as there's no injuries, we just go boom, 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 boom. And then that's where we are right now.
Yeah. Take me back to that first fight. What was your mindset like? Because obviously now it's for real. You're stepping in the big stage. You are going to be facing somebody that obviously it's a fight. Some other people kind of like, might not want to do that. So what was that mindset like stepping into the ring with somebody that has been winning and you were coming from a deficit?
So definitely dealing with the injury mindset, like it just made my mindset on 1,000. Just going through that and being okay with myself and unclearing those clouds that were in my mind and things of that nature. My losses as an amateur were only at a higher weight class. So everyone that I did lose to, it was 8-3 amateur records. So those people that I lost to were at 135, 140, and things like that. So 6-0, I mean, him being undefeated, it was the same thing with me in my weight class. So that kind of nulled and void everything. And then I was just knowing that I'm just a better person, like mentally hungrier. I had more to fight for, obviously, with my wife and my family, like literally having to put food on the table. And it was kind of the same thing when going into the sales job. Like you go into homes, you're signing people up for 6-7 figure kind of deals and things like that, but you don't leave until you get it. So it's kind of positioning yourself and making sure you cover your all your bases when you go into there. And it's the same thing with the fighting too. Like I knew my training was impeccable. I was doing the most I could. I believed in myself to the nth degree to where I knew I wasn't walking out without victory. And that's exactly what we did.
That's awesome. What is the biggest lesson that fighting has taught you as it relates to mental toughness?
Fighting, I mean, you're going to get hit, knocked down, but as long as you keep getting back up, there's no other way to get respect from that, especially me being at the one of the lightest weight classes, 125. I'm bigger people all the time, you know what I mean? So you're getting beat up day in and day out, but it's just keeping to show up and to know that one day you will become the hammer that once was the nail. So as long as you keep sticking it out and actually take the time to learn, don't be stubborn, don't be in your ego, don't edge God out from those things. Take heed and know that, hey, look, I need to work on this and take accountability to be able to do the growth that's necessary to get you where you want to be.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. How do you bounce from deficits or losses, both in the cage and also in real life?
So bouncing it back from the cage, because when I was younger, I had the same kind of issue. I went 0-2 after a title defense. So it was me still bumping up, but I wanted to go 135 belt, lost back to back. And one of the times was you get caught. The second time was more so it stung a little more because there was trash talk and things like that leading up to it. So that one stung a little bit more. And like I mentioned earlier, once you go through those life experiences and knowing how to deal with those firsthand, then you kind of have a blueprint. And that's how I tell people too. Life is a blueprint. It's meant to get maneuvered, changed. You could rearrange your furniture. You could make this room into a different kind of room as long as you take the time to make that change as well too. So I was just looking at myself and saying, hey, look, there's no need to be prideful about this. Like, there's people fighting cancer. There's people battling from worse things than a loss of a fight that's facilitated. Nonetheless, you're not going to, God forbid, there's some people that do pass away, but more than not, you're going to survive. You may get a couple licks, but you're going to be able to go home. And there's people that are proud of you, whether you win or lose. So surrounding yourself with those people, and even if you don't have those people, remember, you got to be proud of yourself at the end of the day. It's a winning mindset of yourself, because he can't make me work out. My wife can't make me work out or do the things that is necessary to become better. My coach, he instruct things all the time, but I'm the one that's got to be able to make those clicks to be able to push forward. And same thing in life too. You got to be able to be your own coach, your own cheerleader, and say, hey, look, I need to make sure that this is going the way I need it to go. If not, then what's the point? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What's really your point? And I've been asked this a good amount of times too. If you're able to say, hey, look, someone can offer you $1 million, but you have to end your assistance, or would you wake up feeling the next day like, all right, people usually turn down the money. And the reason being is because there's something in life worth fighting for. And once you tap into that and backtrack it a little bit to say, hey, look, this is worth living for. This is worth fighting for. This is what's worth the bigger picture at the end of the day. And I think once you touch on those things, those are those extra motivational pushes like, all right, I can get through this. I can bounce back. I can make something happen, because it's not just me I'm doing it for, it's for others as well too. And people are more willing to do above and beyond things for other people versus when it's themselves.
Yeah, for sure. What was the biggest injury that you've faced, and how did you recover from that? I remember seeing one of pictures like recently on social media about like a pin in your hand or something. I don't know if that was the biggest injury that you've had, but what was the biggest injury that you've had, and how did you recover from that?
From fighting or just in life?
From fighting.
From fighting. It was a broken hand. So I broke my hand twice. This time there's a permanent rod in the bad boy. So this is actually 6 weeks post-op, and I've been able to drill, train, and things of that nature. So hopefully one more by the end of the year. But I would say definitely the hand just being broken. Thank goodness it was a clean break. So the first time they had a rod that was able to come out, I still would have been in physical therapy. And I still do physical therapy now, but the wrist wasn't even bending prior. Now we're able to do a lot more mobility, gripping, and things like that already too. So
yeah, what does the process look like? Obviously, you fight with your hands, and with a broken hands, what does the process look like for rehabilitating that for you to be able to get back to the cage?
Working on everything else first. So I would put on my big boxing glove for this side, shin guards the whole bit, but then my MMA glove for this side, so that way it wouldn't get hit. And even if I did block, I would just make sure to move it out of the way at first. So that was the first couple of stages. Then you start adding little by little. So we do a thing called sprawling. So it's like a burpee. You go down, you sprawl your legs out, but then embracing for those impacts, gain your wrist mobility stronger, the flexibility in your hand, making sure it's able to release those scar tissues and things of that nature. And obviously just building up little by little, slight impact here and there, see how that feels. All right, and then we get intensify a little bit more, but also being mindful. So it's kind of like you're your own doctor, but then also I'm grateful enough to have a sponsor, Dr. Lauren, who actually can rehab my hand as well too, out of the exercise center and things like that. So just doing the same things that I was taught from the previous broken hand to now just taking the time to make it heal. And then hopefully by December, we'll get it cracking again. Not the hand, but fighting.
That's funny. The last time we talked, you said that God's timing is everything. Can you share with me how has faith shaped your journey?
So prior to the car accident, and I've always been a Christian believer in Jesus, love God, but never really went to church. And as much as I like to, per se. So Myron Golden is someone who I absolutely look up to, and he's brought in scripture into my life, and I've been listening to him ever since the car accident. And those avenues of bringing what you're going through and the parables that is relatable in the Bible to then bring it to real life and saying, oh, this is how I can relate and then how I can make it better. And that's what just kept me going every day, because God put me on this earth. He allowed me to wake up another day to fulfill what's meant for my ability, and that's to create and multiply and have dominion over everything that I'm the king of, you know what I mean? So, and that just goes to show that there's been different situations where it's been life or death, car accidents, different avenues to where there's no question but to have faith that there is a God out there looking out for my well-being and making sure that I'm sticking to that road that he had intended me for. And there's going to be signs. And I truly believe that I was just tired of not listening to the signs to then say, hey, look, here it is, like slapping you in the face. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And there's been a couple instances like that.
Yeah. Can you share with us the story of your friend that got shot right in front of you, and how has that shaped your perspective in life and faith?
So going out one night when technically I should have been home, you know what I mean? There's no need to be going out to house parties and things like that when you're recovering from a car accident. So long story short, things got out of hand. A buddy of mine got shot, and we rushed him to the hospital, picked him up, loaded him in the car, went to the hospital, and then the next morning he was pronounced dead. So just like that, in a blink of an eye, someone whose life wasn't lived to the fullest of his potential, to where he was truly like a heaven sent type of friend, to then have that happen to him. And then from now, putting that in perspective, like you hold guilt at first, but then you're not the one that pulled the trigger. You're not the one that did certain things, to where you gotta let it go and understand that God intended everything to happen for a reason. So once I started to put that into perspective and say, hey, look, like, how can I make it more fulfilling knowing that my buddy has passed and things like that? Like, how can I make more of an impact? And that's something that we're looking to do day in and day out by living through his legacy and saying, hey, look, like you didn't die in vain. Like, we're making it happen. And I know you're looking down on us right now, just making it all come to light.
Yeah. So you are doing fighting full time, but you also run a business. Can you talk a little bit about that business and where did that business come from?
So I run a meal prepping service and personal nutrition coaching consultation facility, not facility, place of business and things like that. So pretty much what we do, we want to save people time, energy, and just being involved with your loved ones. You don't have to slave over the kitchen. At Candyman Cooks, everything I give out, I put into myself, and it's something to fuel the mind, body, and soul. And the way it started, we just had leftovers in our fridge day in and day out. But I would go to the gym every day, so I'm like, you know what? Instead of these leftovers going to waste, let me see my teammates who may have not had cook or want to go to the gas station and get something to eat for still the same price, but it's not as good quality meals. Let's see if they would want it. So my buddy Devin, he started, and he was my very first customer. And then he was like, hey man, would you be willing to do like 10, 12, 15 meals for me? So that way I have stuff for the week. And I'm like, yeah, we could do that. And then it started off with the team. Then now I'm getting more into the other fighters as well. And then Candyman Cooks is not obviously my main thing. Being a world champion, world-class fighter is my main thing, but the business that we've been going with, it has great traction, and we're just adding a little bit more and more to the plate aside from food.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm just grateful that the people that love it, that support it, and that think that is good, enjoyable meals.
That's awesome. How do you balance Candyman Cooks, Candyman the fighter, and also family life? You have a beautiful girl, can see her over there, and your wife sitting over there. How do you balance fighting, business, and family as a husband and a father?
So outside of camp, I try to always put that energy back into my family because when I'm in camp, we talked about it's 2 months long. So you're really dialed in. You're gone 6 to 7 days out of the week, really just coming home to sleep, recover, and then back at it again. So the downtimes that we do, God, even if we're just laying up at home, so peaceful, it's the most beautiful time because without them, we wouldn't be able to fulfill the dream that we wanted to. So having them on my side and balancing it out is just such a blessing. Like, she's so supportive and believes in my vision and my dream. And so is my little girl too. She comes to the gym with me too. So we got to maximize the schedule as far as that. Like, she comes with us. She goes on the runs now because she's of age. And I have set days where I cook. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But then I also teach at the gym at night. I train at night as well too. Or sometimes if orders aren't as high of a volume on Mondays and Wednesdays, I'll hit my strength conditioning, then go to cook, and then go to training again afterwards. So it's just really packing the day to where it's like 14-hour days, but I'm just getting after it nonstop. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, when we're off camp, is majority like family time, decompress. Weekends, they'll come with me to the runs. So that's still spending time together. They come with me to interviews, out shopping and things like that. So we try to maximize our time to the best of our ability. So that way, when we are gone for those couple hours, it doesn't feel like much time is gone at all.
Yeah. So talking about your daughter, what is the legacy that you want to leave for her?
That she could do anything she puts her mind to. And that obviously I want to leave her with the riches, but also the mindset, the winning, go-get-it attitude, that she's strong, beautiful, and is going to make an impact to this world.
Yeah. Can you talk to me about the hardest fight that you've had? And I know that you're like 6-3 right now. Talk to me about the hardest fight that you've ever had to have.
Inside the cage? That's a good question. I mean, every opponent is different. I would say the biggest sting thus far was up in Canada. I went to Montreal to fight, and that was my most recent loss. And right before flying out, it was the last day of sprints, ended up tearing my quad that Sunday before we fly out Tuesday. And knowing what the camp went great, everything was spectacular, but just having that nagging little injury, and you couldn't renege the agreement, like you couldn't back out, because in that contract it stated that you would stay in there for 6 months in contract. So I wasn't even able, even since it was a single fight deal, in the contract it stated that you would still be held liable with them for 6 months. So I didn't want that either. So we still took the fight. We fought as best as we could, knowing with that injury, we ended up coming off with a decision loss. But it's one of those things that I want to get my rematch back with that one, because knowing how I truly perform and how I am, I truly believe I'm one of the top 10 UFC fighters already, even though I'm not in that big show just yet. But it's one of those things where if I gave it my 100%, no injuries and things like that, I truly believe that I would have won and stopped them from being undefeated.
Yeah.
So that was one that kind of that hit home a little bit more so than others, but we just keep on bouncing back. You know what I mean? I was literally like tearing up in the car. And my coach was just looking at me. He was like, "You're good. You're good." There's people doing like surviving worse stuff and things like that. So I'm just grateful to still be able to go home to a family that's proud of me. And no matter what, I was able to visit another country, give it my all with the circumstances given, and I wouldn't have changed it because now it's just relit another fire to where I came off a deficit, but now we're not stopping until we're in the UFC 10-0 going in there type of deal.
Yeah, that's awesome. How do you, like, what is the mindset? How do you deal with setbacks and injuries after injuries, and for you to, step back into the ring to like, really pursue that dream?
Just having that bigger purpose, really dialing down to those key points of like, I'm doing it more so for not just for myself, but for others that truly believe in me too. And once you have those motivational factors, nothing can really stop you. And then you have to take ownership and say, hey, look, I'm going to get it no matter what. Until the wheels fall off, I'm coming in hard, like Tommy Cruise and Jack Reacher.
Tommy Cruise and Jack Reacher. You say all the time that fueling your body doesn't have to be bland and boring. Can you describe what do you mean by that? Why do you say that?
So I've been dieting now, 13 plus years of cutting weight and things like that. But the way we have it now is down to a science, and it's pretty much still enjoying the foods that people can enjoy every day, whether it's fast food and things like that, but not putting all the preservatives, all the yucky stuff, but really bringing that flavor to your taste buds to then say, hey, look, like, this tastes really good, but I can't even tell if it's fast food or if it's healthy food. And I was actually out in California training with Brandon Moreno, and I was cooking for them. And these are high-level UFC former championship people, and they're saying that the food is really delicious, and what they give at the Performance Institute is a little bland. And I was like, well, that's different, because I think I could really hit a niche with that as well too, especially in the Tampa Bay area. There's these companies that use canola oil, that use all these preservatives, or even if they don't, it just doesn't have that impactful flavor to say, hey, look, I want to redo this meal again. They actually say, no, I don't even want it anymore. So that's just one thing I want to bring to the community is like, look, not only will you be having delicious fuel for your mind, body, and soul, but you'll also get that impactful flavor that'll keep you wanting more and more and more of it. And it doesn't have to be something that's matinee. There's a weekly menu that we offer as well too, so that way it keeps your taste buds wanting different flavors.
Yeah. How does nutrition coaching fit into your fitness coaching?
They go hand in hand. They say 80% of it is what you eat, 20% of it is physical. And I truly believe that as well too, because people can push the iron, they could do the work, but then what are you doing afterwards? Are you just going to put Taco Bell into a Ferrari type engine, or are you going to put, let's say, Eddie V's into your system, and now you're putting that Ferrari energy, that love, that energy back into it? And if you don't put those things coincide together, then you're going to fail. Realistically, it's going to be a fail. You're not going to see the results that you want. You're going to think that it's one thing, but it's truly all going back down to your gut health. And as long as you get your gut aligned, and that's what we're going to do at Candyman Cooks, then everything's going to be a nice flowing system. And it may take a couple of weeks, a couple of months, but when you're doing something like this, it is a lifestyle change. So you going to the gym every day is a lifestyle change. Same thing with your diet as well too. And there's services like this that can help you alleviate that, because a lot of people just aren't educated on those things. So with someone that's been in the field for years and years of it and understanding what works and what doesn't work, I've even cut weight with ramen noodles at my early stages. So I've been through trial and error numerous times, and I've helped people lose a lot of weight as well too, or help gain it as well too. It just all depends on what they're looking for, but they definitely go hand in hand. And it's beautiful seeing those success stories that do come through.
Yeah. You have some massive dreams for Max the Candyman Quinones. What are some of the big vision or dreams that you have for Candyman Cooks, and where do you want to take it?
I want to take it definitely across the U.S. I definitely want to take it across the U.S. with Candyman Cooks, and I want to be able to have a team of experts that say, hey, look, we have a UFC event over here, we have a UFC over here, not event, these different events, but we have these fighters that need help facilitating their weight cuts, that need help. So I really want to make an impact in the MMA community as far as being that weight cutting coach, that nutritional coach, making sure they're getting their macros, everything in check. And then even if they're not in the MMA field, but they just want to have that healthier lifestyle or just save time and convenience, I want to be able to provide that for them as well too, while feeling their body like a pro athlete. And because it shouldn't be discriminatory. If you want the meals, hey, I'll be happy to service you.
Absolutely. When we chatted, you had some really great things that you wanted to do for the community, giving back, and like, what are some of the things that Max the Candyman Quinones is already doing and is also planning to do to give back to the community?
Absolutely. So my coach, Coach Daniel, we have what's called a Tampa Outreach community page, and we also have a group of volunteers. So we'll go out to these food pantries, parks, even with my fraternity, Omega Gamma Delta as well too. We do volunteering services to where we'll go to HEP, Homeless Empowerment Program, to help volunteer, help the less fortunate to really get back on their feet and just be that extra hand that gives them that experience of, let's say, not having something that is missing, but to be able to fill that void, even if it's just for a couple minutes, couple hours, but just to give them that experience of say, hey, look, like there are people out here willing to help and wanting to do more. And with Candyman Cooks, in due time, we definitely want to be able to give out meals for holidays, whether it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, birthdays, any which way that we're able to help the community as far as like giving back food, because as long as you have fuel in your body, you're able to get to that next thing that you want to do, the next opportunity that comes about. And if you're conscious of it and we give you that meal and say something happens to where it's a blessing in your favor, that alone is, even we could touch one person with this journey, I just want to be able to make that impact to where, hey, look, you're seen, you're heard, you're valued, and there's people out there that want to do that service for you. And over here with Death War, Candyman Cooks, my family, we are giving back community, and we just definitely want to see our village thrive and not just be stuck with complicity.
Yeah. As we're nearing the end of the talk show, I want to ask you a few more questions before we wrap up here. The first one is for anybody that have that similar dream that they want to, fight at that high level. What advice would you give to those people that wants to reach the MMA, the UFC stage?
Keep on trucking. You're going to get beaten down. You got to be your biggest one. And even if you're running stuff in your gym, you know what I mean? You just got to keep on showing up day in and day out and knowing that you have an ultimate goal to be, whether it's world-class athlete, UFC champion, really stick down to that and really do the daily deposits that's needed to really get yourself to that level, because it's not always going to be rainbows and sunshines. And fighting, at first, you don't make a lot of money. So you really got to get after it, whether it's understanding how to communicate better, to speak to sponsorships, whether it's being that team player, showing up for your teammates and knowing that, hey, look, by me showing up is going to create a positive, contagious effect of everyone else not only wanting to show up, but respect what you got going on and be part of that dream too. And then just making sure that if you're doing it with someone, that they're on the same page. And if you're doing it by yourself, make sure you have the team, the core group of people that you can see yourself in the vision with down the line, and that they see themselves in that vision as well too. And I think over at Death War, we have that camaraderie, we have that bond. Like my coach, like he knows how to wake me up, he knows how to get me going, and he knows the things to say. And I trust in him my family trusts in me and I trust in my family. And it's just all about having that trust amongst each other, making sure there's a good flowing, seamless process. And at the end of the day, when everyone's putting in the work and being understanding and just knowing that, hey, look, we're going to make this happen. We're just focused and ready to take what's all coming.
Yeah. Now let's translate that to like the entrepreneurial lifestyle. A lot of people out there, like your business is kind of stepping into the ring every single day. You get beat down. It's like, you get success, you get beat down, you get like punch in the face. What advice would you give to some of those people that are having a lot of those injuries or setbacks or like failures in their business rings?
Always remember, a setup is a setup for a comeback. So just make sure you see what's going on and not be insane and doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. If something isn't working, stick it out for that short period of time, understand, dissect it, and then move on to the next thing and see how you can course correct it to better in your favor.
Awesome. What is your greatest inspiration?
My family, for sure. Just being able to provide and knowing that we're going to be living on a legacy is my biggest inspiration. And I know I'm going to touch not only my wife and my daughter's hearts, but the people that support me, my team's heart, everyone's heart that I come across. And you got me all emotional today, but that is some of the things I'm really inspired by. You know what I mean? And it definitely keeps me going. And I'm grateful for this talk show, brother.
Absolutely, man. So great to have you.
Likewise. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was fantastic having you. And I'm so glad that we were able to come here, just chat.
Got me teary-eyed again. What the heck, man?
Any parting advice for anybody watching this talk show?
Just keep on doing your thing. If it's not in alignment to what you have going on, make sure you get in alignment. Seek faith. And a lot of things that are going evil right now in the world, make sure you have some groundedness and stay focused and just have God in your life. Because, yeah, I go in a cage and I could go cold on someone and really do damage. But at the end of the day, God sent me down as his warrior. What has God sent you down for? What is your purpose? And really tap into that and know that you're going to have people to say yes, some people to say no. So what's next?
Awesome. Talking about what's next. What's next for you in the fight game? Is there a UFC title in the horizon?
I mean, we're going to see what's going on. There's some talks about December, a possible comeback. But as long as like we talked about earlier, it's God's timing. So whatever he has in mind, and we're just definitely trying to get one more in by the end of this year, for sure. So it's leaning towards December. Just got to make sure everything's on point with this before I break it on someone else's face.
Before I break it off in somebody's face. That's the key word over here. Man, such a pleasure having you. And it was such a great time meeting your beautiful family as well. Hi. Man, I cannot wait for me to tune in my TV one day and seeing you in that, big fight.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. So, yeah, thanks again for coming over and being part of the show.
Thank you for having me on. Thank you for getting me all teary-eyed. But, hey, man, I'm excited. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. And those are the things I need to work through as well, too, because it is a soft spot. So I'm just grateful to be able to keep pursuing my dreams and my passion. And thank you for giving me the platform to be able to give the fans something to look forward to and to understand a little bit more about myself as well, too.
Absolutely. Such a pleasure, man.
Likewise.
There you have it. For anybody watching this that might be interested in following your journey or even connecting with you or even learning about Candyman Cooks. That's a beautiful name, by the way.
Thank you.
How can they get a hold of you?
Max_the Candyman in Instagram, Max Quinones on Facebook. And then I also have Candyman Cooks on Instagram as well, too. Just at Candyman Cooks. And if you ever want to join our team at Def4, we're over in Town and Country area. Reach out to my coach at Def4, DEFWAR. And we just expanded our gym, bigger facility, more mass space. And we're looking for the next wave of hungry competitors that want to get after it, that are strong-minded and want to be part of a winning team.
Let's go. There you have it. It's fire, baby. Let's go.